cheated on while pregnant. So my ex-fiancé, male 26, cheated on me when I was about 6 months pregnant, female 27. I worked as a restaurant manager and took a week off from work to fly out to Europe. That's where I grew up to see my family for the first time since the pregnancy, before it was too late to fly. When I got back home, there was a facial scrub in my shower that didn't belong to me. I freaked out. I asked for answers. He lies, complete denial. Thinks I'm an idiot, he goes. I don't know how that ended up here, maybe it's yours. I was livid, cried all day at work that day, asked again at night, and he starts yelling at me about how I don't trust him. Don't forget I'm pregnant as fuck here, and he's putting this on me. Baffling. I then tried to let it go. I decided to stop thinking about it and focus on my pregnancy. I know he cheated, but he won't admit it, so I'm just wasting my time trying to argue. Fast forward to 1 month postpartum, I get in a car accident, wasn't at fault, no injuries. But my car gets totaled, great. So now I'm faced with a big decision. Do I want to drop thousands on a new car, or do I want to leave him and move back to Europe with our son? Somehow owning a car made me feel attached to the US. I don't know why it did, but it was sort of a big commitment. If I buy a new car, that means I'm staying here and moving forward. A week later, he comes home from work. I sat him down and said, I'm not going to spend thousands on a vehicle if you can't admit that you had unprotected sex with some girl in our home. I'd much rather sell all my stuff and leave. His jaw dropped. He thought I'd let it go, and he was off the hook, but he admitted to cheating. FYI, I had a fragile cervix during pregnancy, which caused heavy bleeding during intercourse, had to go to the ER twice, and had horrible nausea the entire time. So yeah, sex drive wasn't the best, but I still tried. He's my first child. I wasn't going to risk an early labor for some dick. Just jerk off for a bit. Don't f someone in our home. 3 months later, I fly back home, and I've been a happy single mother ever since. Best decision I ever made. I'm really proud of myself for leaving. I don't think I deserve to be with someone who would betray me when I need them the most. In such a horrible way, I think cheating in your home is 10 times worse. Yes, he is the father of my child, and I won't come between them, but I'm glad I left him. He gave me the most beautiful gift anyone has ever given me, but he lost all of my respect after that. Story number 2. Married for 19 years before my wife cheated on me. I'll be 75 this July, and I've seen a lot of things. I wanted to share my story with the younger generation before I die. Quite frankly, I have lung cancer and I don't expect to be around much longer, so this information needs to get out there. I got married when I was 18 in 1964. It feels like I'm not even the same person anymore. I used to be in good physical shape, and now I'm stuck in a wheelchair. My wife and I both had to work full-time since I didn't have the income to support both of us. I worked in construction and she cleaned hotel rooms. We never had any kids, and we still had time to ourselves on the weekends. I don't think we ever argued, but this was so long ago, I'm losing details. Though, and we didn't have any issues getting along. Over the years, I started to make more money, and she was able to quit her job and stay at home. I would work longer nights though, and our marriage turned more into friendship. Honestly, we rarely had sex, and although I still loved her, I felt like it was different. We didn't spend enough time together towards the end. I take the blame for leading us down the wrong road with my job, as you will read later on. This wasn't the only issue, but still I should have addressed this situation, while I still could have. One night I get back from work and at first everything seems normal. Dinner was ready and we had the TV set to baseball, my favorite back in the day. I talked to her in the kitchen for a little and went to my room to change out of my work clothes. When I went in there, I found a box of condoms on my nightstand. I started to panic because I had a vasectomy years before this and never used condoms. I immediately asked my wife about them and she couldn't think of an explanation in time. She started crying and came clean about the cheating. She invited her friend from work over for sex while I was out and apparently forgot to get rid of the condoms. I'm not ashamed to admit I was crying as well after hearing that. I tried to find out why she did this, and she said she just wasn't attracted to me, was lonely, and never enjoyed our sex. I didn't know what to say and ended up leaving. We got divorced after 19 years of being married. In my 40s, I was a disaster. I lost all confidence and motivation to go on. I started drinking and eventually became an alcoholic. It took me until my 60s to kick this habit. I couldn't look myself in the mirror while thinking I was a failure of a man. I wanted to date again, but I just thought the same would happen again. It never occurred to me that I was bad in bed, and I really didn't have any good answers. My skin started to wrinkle a bit, especially on the back of my legs, but I took pride in maintaining my figure for a while, and when I had sex during our marriage, I swear she enjoyed it. I kept my tough guy appearance through my 30s, and would still wear my bandana during sex, which was a turn-on for her. I was generous and always went down on her when she wanted me to. I used cock rings to maintain erections, and I could always orgasm extra hard, which was a fetish of hers. If I tried my best, by definition I couldn't do anything else. As time went by though, I started to think about the idea that at an older age sex wasn't too important, and about 5 years ago I started dating again. We don't have an active sex life, but she assured me that there was nothing wrong with me. I remarried last year, which made me so happy, but unfortunately that's when I got my cancer diagnosis. Since then I've lost a lot of energy, and my new wife is the only one that keeps me going. We are trying chemo, but the future looks bleak. In my remaining days I want to share some knowledge I've collected over the years to make the world a better place. My mental abilities are also slowly waning, so I need to do this before it's too late. Story number 3. My ex tried to cheat. It didn't work out for him though. After some time my ex would sleep with his phone in his pocket. Weird red flag, but I never said anything. When I noticed he wouldn't even pull up his phone in front of me, I knew something was up. One night it slipped out of his sweats and I woke up with it near my legs. I was just going to put it on the charger, honestly, but I saw he had a bunch of notifications and messages from a dating app. Man, I wanted to slap him awake, but I didn't. So I created a profile using a friend of mine's pictures that he never met, and I had her approval. She was his type 100%, and I knew he loved blue eyes. So when we matched like I knew we would, we got to chatting. We talked for about a week before I suggested meeting up. Flirting, sexual stuff. He told me that he was single and lived with a friend. So I suggested him paying for a hotel room so we could fuck. He said he would. We picked a spot. Mind you, I paid for everything because he was unemployed after losing his job. He drained my savings account over the year with manipulation. We're family. We take care of each other when we're in tough spots. He would say whenever I told him I didn't have extra money, I paid my student loans, all bills of a 1-bedroom, and the food. This bull at the ballsack to ask me for money in person that his mom's birthday was coming up, and he wanted to buy her something nice, so I gave him $50. Just because it was hilarious at this point. I still think about the smile on his face in that moment. That weekend he left, said he was going to his mom's and that he'd probably stay the night. I kissed him goodbye and told him to have a great time. Then I packed all of his stuff and left it outside. I live in a US city, so it went fast. Got the locks changed. He messaged me a few times on the app. I told him I was running late because I wanted to look perfect, but I was coming and so sorry. My friend also sent me some sexy pictures to send him that didn't fully include her face. She's a real one. I even talked him into jerking off and sending me a video. Then, after making him sit until about 1 a.m., I messaged him on the dating app a picture of his belongings being rummaged through by a homeless man and to enjoy his stay in a hotel. As soon as my phone rang, I blocked his number and went to bed. He was outside of my door the Monday I came home from work, ugly, crying, begging, telling me he was homeless and had nowhere to go when I wasn't having it. He got angry per usual. Once he started grabbing and trying to get into my apartment, I called the police, filed a restraining order because he did threaten my life and my pets for putting him out. Found out he ended up moving a few hours away where his only family is and has a job.